Let me know in the comments what you think about this story. Do you think Travis was really abducted, or was it for fame and fortune? Travis Walton was an American forestry worker who claims he was abducted by aliens on November 5, 1975, while he was logging in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest near Heber, Arizona. On October 20, 1975, NBC aired a television special, The UFO Incident, about the alleged alien abduction of Barney and Betty Hill. A few weeks after it aired, law enforcement reported Walton missing after he walked into the woods toward a light and stood underneath it. This is very similar, if not identical, to the UFO incident. On the 5th of November 1975, Michael Rogers, who was the logging crew chief, reported Travis missing. When interviewed by the police, 6 of his teammates working as logging crew said that while they were driving, they saw an object with lights hovering above the ground near the road. They said that Travis told them to stop, got out of the truck, and ran towards the light, standing underneath it. The workers were so spooked they drove away and left Travis there. When they returned about 15 minutes later, both the light and Travis were gone. Police and 3 of the crew went back to Turkey Springs to search the area, while the remainder of the crew left in Travis's vehicle. They were too scared to join the search. The team continued searching until just after midnight and then called it off till the next day. Now, to me personally, this is strange. When police informed his parents about Travis's disappearance, his mother said, "Well, that's the way these things happen." She wasn't concerned, she wasn't in a panic. It's as if she was expecting it. The next day, a party of about 50 people, including Travis's mother, went back to Turkey Springs to continue their search, but there was no trace of Travis Walton or any form of struggle in the area. Oddly enough, his mother commented, "I don't think there is any use of looking any further. He's not around here. I don't think he's on this earth." My personal opinion. I think this was all planned by him and his family. Why else would she say she doesn't think he's on this earth? Anyway, let's dig deeper. 5 days and 6 hours later, shortly after midnight on November 12th, Walton called his sister from a payphone in Heber and claimed to have reappeared after the kidnapping. Within days of his reappearance, Walton sold his story to a tabloid called the National Enquirer. They published the story nationally and awarded the crew a prize of $5,000. In 1978, Walton wrote a book called The Walton Experience about his own alleged kidnapping, which was adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. His case has become widely known, and to this day, he is a regular guest on TV shows and podcasts. Even those who believe in UFOs and abductions believe that Travis Walton's case is a hoax. People who know the Waltons say they are longtime UFO enthusiasts and pranksters who had recently seen a TV movie about alleged alien abductions. They speculate that one of the motivations behind the fraud was to create an act of God that would allow logging crews to avoid severe financial penalties by the Forest Service for not completing contracts on time. It was during spring in 1972 that the National Enquirer began advertising a $50,000 prize to anyone who could prove the existence of extraterrestrial visitors. A few years later, they increased the prize money to $100,000. Turkey Springs is around 12 miles south of Heber, and this is the site of a logging contract and the reported alien abduction. Travis and the rest of the team live 30 miles away in Snowflake. Travis Walton was born on February 10, 1953 in Arizona, USA. His mother was Mary Walton, later Mary Walton Kellett. On the 5th of May, 1971, Travis Walton and his partner Carl Rogers pleaded guilty to breaking into the Western Molding Company offices and stealing, forging, and then cashing company checks. They received a light sentence of 2 years probation and was then allowed to plead not guilty, thereby clearing their record. In 1975, Travis, then aged 22, was part of a 7-man logging crew led by Michael Rogers, age 28, Carl's older brother. Rogers won a federal contract the previous year to thin out 1,277 acres of small trees in an area known as Turkey Springs in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest. The deadline to complete was August 1975. Rogers requested an extension until November 10th, which was granted. If he failed to meet the deadline, a penalty of $2,500 could be imposed, and he would not qualify to bid on any future contracts. Then on the 20th of October, the following letter was written by Rogers to Forest Service contracting officials. I honestly can't tell you if we will be able to finish on time, but we work every day with as much labor as we can hire. I will not stop working until it is done or I am asked to stop. I had serious problems keeping my entire staff at work. The area is very dense, and because of this, the morale of the workers is low. We will keep trying and trying. The same night that Rogers sent his letter to the Forest Service, NBC aired a primetime special called The UFO Incident, a movie about alleged alien abductions. The film stars James Earl Jones as Barney Hill. Barney Hill talks about being hypnotized by a psychiatrist in 1964 and being abducted by aliens. Recovered memory therapy is not based on scientific evidence, and recovered memories cannot be distinguished from false memories. The film aired 2 weeks before the Travis Walton UFO abduction incident, and this is believed to have inspired Rogers and Walton to write their own account of the alleged alien abduction. Psychologists and skeptics have used the abduction claim to argue that, after watching this movie, anyone with even the slightest bit of imagination can now become an instant celebrity, concluding that one of those celebrities at that moment was Travis Walton. A local newspaper ran the article on November 8th, and that day, a member of a Phoenix-based UFO interest group recorded a 65-minute interview with logging team leader Mike Rogers and Travis's older brother, Dwayne Walton. During the interview, neither Mike nor Dwayne expressed any fear or concern about Travis, but rather expressed confidence that Travis would return. Rogers said this about the logging contract during this interview. This contract we have is seriously behind schedule. In fact, Monday, the time is up. We haven't done any work on it since Wednesday because of this thing, and therefore it won't be done. I hope they take that into account. Forestry contracts often contain natural disaster clauses or act of God clauses that release contractors who fall behind due to unforeseen circumstances. Dwayne also said during the interview that he, Dwayne, Travis, and their mother were UFO enthusiasts who had, on numerous occasions, discussed that if they saw a UFO, they would immediately get directly under the object because the opportunity to go on board a UFO would be too great to pass up. Dwayne insisted that Travis isn't even missing. He knows where he is, and I know where he is. Law enforcement continued their search for Travis on the 9th of November until late into the afternoon, and Walton's mother again called for the search to be halted. By the 10th of November, stories about Travis's disappearance were published in the United States, Britain, and Canada. On November 11th, media reported that Travis's mother believed further searches for Travis were futile. Arizona Department of Public Safety polygraph examiner C.E. Gilson interviewed Rogers and 5 other members of the logging crew on November 11th to determine whether any of them had killed Travis Walton. Everyone except Alan Dallas's results were negative. Dallas's results were found to be inconclusive. Shortly after midnight on November 12th, Travis Walton called his sister's home from a payphone in Heber, Arizona. He contacted her husband, Grant Neff, who then drove to Dwayne, and they drove to Heber to pick up Travis. Neff later reported that he initially thought the caller was intoxicated. As part of the collect call process, Travis gave the operator his name. She recognized his name as that of a missing person and alerted Sheriff Gillespie, who sent deputies to the family ranch. Deputy Glenn Flake arrived at the ranch at 2 a.m. He saw Dwayne Walton transferring fuel from one vehicle to another after forgetting to buy gas before the local gas station closed. The deputy didn't say anything about him knowing Travis had returned home, and Dwayne didn't tell the deputy that Travis had been found. Dwayne organized medical help for Travis by contacting a UFO researcher he had met a few days earlier. They were referred to hypnotist Dr. Lester Stewart. Dwayne took Travis to meet Stewart, but his first words were that Travis needed a medical examination with lab tests and was not ready for hypnosis. Stewart noted that Travis looked very confused and resembled the drug addicts he treated. He also noted that Travis had suffered a small lesion to the inner crease of his right elbow. This, he said, is consistent with intravenous drug use. The Walton family returned to Dwayne's home after their meeting with Stewart. UFO researchers arranged a home visit by two doctors who were also amateur UFO researchers. They arrived at 3 p.m., and Dwayne told them that no cameras or tape recorders were allowed and they weren't allowed to ask Travis questions about his experience. The doctors noted visible puncture marks and estimated these to be between 24 and 48 hours old. Rumors of Travis's return began to spread, and the media began calling Dwayne's house trying to contact Travis. Dwayne finally alerted law enforcement to Travis's return by calling Sheriff Gillespie, who insisted on an immediate meeting with Travis. After a 4-hour drive to Glendale, the sheriff finally arrived at 11 p.m. Dwayne and Travis told Sheriff Gillespie he was not to record the interview. Dwayne and Travis moved into a room at the Sheraton Inn in Scottsdale after a local UFO group facilitated the connection. In exchange for exclusive access to Walton and his story, the National Enquirer covered the costs. On the 14th of November, Travis Walton missed his polygraph interview with police. That night, with Enquirer reporters in attendance, a doctor associated with the UFO group had a 2-hour conversation with a hypnotized Travis about what had happened. The next day, Travis was interviewed by Jack McCarthy, an independent polygraph examiner organized by the UFO group and Enquirer magazine. McCarthy concluded that Travis was using serious deception methods like deliberately holding his breath to beat the machine. On November 22nd, Travis appeared on Phoenix TV station Cool and was interviewed about the incident. Travis claimed that he was knocked unconscious when he was hit by the beam, and that he woke up in a hospital-like room, watched over by 3 short, bald creatures. He said he fought them until a human male wearing a helmet took Walton into another room. There he passed out when 3 other people placed a clear plastic mask over his face. He claims he doesn't remember anything else until 5 days later when he found himself walking down the highway with a flying saucer above his head departing into the distance. It may have been slightly believable if Travis and his entire family weren't UFO freaks. This, in my opinion, is a story he concocted after watching the UFO incident aired on NBC. He saw a gravy train and hopped on it, and he absolutely coined it.